Hi, my name is Glenn Madden, and I'm the executive pastor and campus pastor at one of our campuses at Willow Park Church in Kelowna. So when we were coming out of COVID, one of our campuses, the campus that I pastor, was in an interesting predicament. Not only were we wondering how many people were going to come back to the church, we have 3 campuses across our network. We weren't sure how many people were actually going to come back to this particular campus because, like everyone else, the whole church had dispersed. We were very grateful when we did actually start church again in the school that we've been using for over 20 years, that our congregation came back. We have an amazing church family. We're so grateful. The school district had been leasing this building to us for 20 years, and now they wanted to actually take the school back into the school district to use as a local elementary school. This put us in a really difficult position. Not only were we now facing doing a portable church, pop-up church, as many churches and maybe you are doing week in, week out, and it's an amazing ministry. I have a newfound appreciation for people who turn up at 7 a.m. and they start making church in a blank box in a school. Incredible. That was one thing, but the school made it really clear to us that this wasn't going to be an ongoing situation. So we were looking at the potentially of being homeless. Over 200 people regularly meeting. We were going to have no buildings. So we started searching. And we searched all over the city, and there was nothing. We looked at everything from wineries to horse training domes to everything in between for years. And then we heard about First Mennonite Church, who were looking to sell their incredible building in a different part of town to another church. To cut a long story short, they were very keen to sell it to us, and we'd already spoken to Legacy, and so I went through a process of presenting a large proposal to our board. To give you some reference, we've actually been debt-free for many years as a church, which is an amazing situation to be in. And so the Board of Elders, quite rightly, wanted to make sure that we weren't going to enter into something that was going to cause us long-term problems. So they set a couple of challenges. We prayerfully went through what it might look like for us financially, given the cost of the building and some renovations, where we were at financially across the church. We spent a lot of time praying, and we gave a figure to the church that we felt the building was worth. They accepted that, and that's where the fun began. Because the board said, well, it's one thing taking out a mortgage for Legacy, but we need to find a down payment. And we need to show that we can pay the operations each year for the increased mortgage and everything else that comes with having another permanent building. And so this was in about January, February time. So I set about looking at how we could do both those things. Went back to the board, and the board said, we'd like to see at least $400,000 being raised, and we need to increase our income, our donor income, by about 10%, which is at that point was around about 200,000. So they wanted 200,000 increased giving, committed giving every year, and they also wanted at least $400,000 to supplement the down payment that they had put together. This was in about February. We needed to make this happen by the end of March. So we had to raise over $400,000 and increase our operational income by 200,000, all within a little over a month. So we started the campaign, and the campaign was a bit of a unique way of going about it. We have a good-sized church, and it's cross-generational. So we've got Gen Zs, we've got millennials, Gen Xs, we've got boomers, we've got traditionalists, we've got everybody. And you know, in church, those different ages have very different views about giving. I'm so grateful for our seniors and our Gen Xers who are just committed to giving and tithing every month. But then the Gen Z and the millennials have a different viewpoint when it comes to giving, and one that I'm realizing more and more that the church needs to appreciate and understand rather than do drive-by guiltings just to try and get them to tithe. So I spent a lot of time thinking and praying and chatting with people about how we were going to do this in a way that actually saw cross-generational giving, not only one-time lump sums that we wanted, but also committing to monthly giving on an ongoing basis. So rather than just saying, hey, could you please give, we went through a process that I call micro decisions or micro pledges. So we broke the whole thing down to manageable chunks, if you like, that if you commit to this amount per month, then if enough of us do this, then we've met our goal. I basically shared with the church that we could meet our goal by the end of the Sunday afternoon that I was sharing if we all committed to this. We had websites, we had print collateral, we had PDFs, all of which was surrounding, in faith, there was a lot of prayer that was going into this, the belief that everybody, if enough of us could give, then we would reach our goal. And so the amazing thing is, through different processes and different little tricks and tips that we picked up as we went along, by the end of March, we'd actually exceeded our goal in both counts. We'd raised over $400,000 in one-time gifts, which was amazing and humbling. The team that worked with me, there was such an excitement when we literally saw this money rolling in. I know that sounds like hyperbolic, but that's what it felt like. Those 4 weeks were amazing. But also the number of people that increased their giving and started to give within those 30 days actually meant that we exceeded our goal. We ended up increasing our yearly budget donations by about 218,000. As we look back, what we've actually seen an increase of around about 270,000 across the year, and also all those one-time gifts came in. The brevity of this video makes it very difficult for me to give you all the steps and all the ins and outs because there were many, and it was a real process, and we were very clear on our milestones. The momentum was really important. We used social media, we used website, we used video, we used PDFs. We used a lot of enthusiasm, really high vision casting and communication. And it was just so humbling to see how God's family stepped up. So I don't know if any of this resonates with you, because I'm sure that there are many who are watching this are in similar situations. You have a capital project that you want to raise money for. You want to see an increase in your giving on a yearly basis. And you've got Gen Zs and millennials who are amazing in your church. They're full of enthusiasm, but they have a different way of thinking when it comes to giving. And all these myriad of factors all coming down to, is God going to provide for this new building or this new renovation or this new project that you're contemplating? I want to encourage you that God is still in the business of providing in remarkable ways, and with some just kind of different perspective on how people give, and a little structuring around how to do it, it is more than possible.